Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're talking about everything board games from the Spiel Essen Fair 2023. But first, it has been actually a lot longer than I anticipated doing the next episode. It's been around 4 weeks. It was the 17th of September, the last time I broadcast an episode. And now I'm recording on the 10th of October. So I'm already back from the Spiel Essen Fair. I thought I was going to get more done, but I didn't. But I will tell you first and foremost what I've played up until today. So I've played Kovango, I've played the Quacks of Quedlinburg, the Lorenzo Il Magnifico Big Box, Earth, a few games of Nar, both online and in person, and it's so much better in person. Karak and Karak 2, Ticket to Ride, Hallertau, more Kovango, Micro Macro Crime City All In. I'll tell you now, I played it 20 times in the month of September. A few games of festivals, so check out my video on the channel for that. No one else has made a video at time of recording, and that is by GDM Games, a Spanish publisher. I've played more games of Nar, and just coming back to festival, I got that at Spiel Essen last year, back when it was just called Spiel. Now, fewer than 1% of people still actually call it correct name, which is Spiel Essen, because they've now been bought out. Dominik Metzler, the daughter of the founder of Spiel, has now sold the company, and Spiel now own it, but there are many other Spiels now as well. Lacrimosa, now I played somebody's copy of the game by De Vere, and I really liked it much more than everyone else did, and I'll be up for playing it again. The reason we were playing it is because there's something called Euromasters, and Euromasters is where you can compete and try and obviously do the best at a few games that were being selected from a larger selection of games for the Spiel Essen Fair from some sponsors, and other games in the list that made it included Tilliton, which I also give an 8 out of 10 to as well as Starship Captains by Czech Games Edition and Next Move London. Now, while the games have played more games of Hallertau, I've played a lot of Hallertau, almost 10 games or so recently, and more games of Undaunt and Stalingrad, apologies for that. A few games of Aeon's End War Eternal, a game I was looking forward to getting another version of, another in a series at the Spiel Essen Fair. More games, obviously, of Micro Macro All In, so I've played all of them now, including expansions and the promos and stuff like that. Mountain Goats, which I very much enjoyed. That's by All Play, I believe. A few games of Honor in. I played that solo and as a 2 as well. I've never tried it as a 2 before, and I'm getting some more in-patience games, or technically I do have some more in-patience games, both from last year and this year, that I'll be playing. War of Civilizations. This is perhaps one of my favourite 4X games, so check out my, obviously, video as well for that too. Also, I have got Forest Shuffle, so I very much enjoyed Forest Shuffle. And what else do I have? Just had someone send me a message about the new logo for Arcane Wonders. Currently recording a podcast. There we go. Currently recording a podcast. So I'm mentioning this. So basically, they have a new logo, and they have said, no, you're using the wrong one. But I looked on Board Game Geek. I looked on their website for Arcane Wonders, and it wasn't on there. So what are the games that I play? Well, as you can probably tell, I also played some games many times. So Yogi was the second most played game. I played that a total of 9 times in the month of September. Lots of different groups that went down very well. And it's definitely good to be good at yoga for something like that. I play Letter Tycoon, so check out my video on Board Game Arena for that. And of course, just Google Letter Tycoon and AmassGames. Apologies for the voice going. That is just what happens when you demo at Essen fairs and stuff like that. I also played Sebastian Fitzek's Safe House. That's a cooperative game, similar to Pandemic, but it's real time, although there is a real-time Pandemic as well, called Rapid Response, but it's one of my least favourite of the Pandemics, or for the 26 or so that I've played, maybe the 17, and I played all of them apart from the Clone Wars, but as for this game, it's a German design game whereby you have some baddie chasing you. So I've also been playing adventure games of Volcanic Island. This is a low-rated adventure games, and it's the only one I'm aware of in 4 parts. I filmed many videos for adventure games, and this one has not been that enjoyable at all. 6 out of 10. Even when I saw it when I got back, I went, ugh, still got to finish that off. Canopy. Now this involves a mechanism called the Winston Draft, where you look at a card. If you don't like it, put it back face down, and look at the next 2. If you don't like them, put them face down, put another card on top, like the first pile. Third pile, look at them, keep them, or put them face down again, and put a card on top, and then just take one blind. Now, other games including Sea of Clouds, which I don't know if I've done a video for as well, and there is another game that also has that in it too. Also playing quite a lot of Fort, all player counts as well. That's getting more and more popular. People find it's very hard trying to teach when you initially set up, because there's what is called a yard, and you've got to put cards in that. So again, as always, check out those videos to help me bring the stuff to life. Some more games: Canopy, Less Tycoon, Fort Festival. Also Books of Time. So Paul, who you'll hear on the podcast too, as I mentioned a few times, he's getting eager to get on here. Books of Time is a game by Philip Glawick, I think his name is, and he is our marketing manager, I believe, at the wonderful company Board and Dice, which used to be NSKN, and I've also got Nucleum by them too. So that is by Simeone Luciani, who I met and spent almost half an hour with on a Wednesday at the Spiel Essen Fair, which is brilliant. He very much likes my Rats of Wistar video too, which is cool. I also played Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, the Portuguese edition, which isn't even on Board Game Geek, but you literally are speaking Portuguese as well. And I was doing very badly because I had an extremely long day, and yet I managed to, even though someone else had 0 cards left, still managed to win that. So check out my various videos for that too. Also The Number, which is a bit of a crazy kind of game, trying to outthink people. I like the outthinking stuff, but it can be frustrating. Also Marvel Champions, the car game, Zuli, more Fort, Nar, and Sea Salt and Pepper. Sea Salt and Paper, which again is much better in person than online. Unfortunately, the 5-year expansion, which is about 8 cards, is sold out at the Spiel Essen Fair. More in Stalingrad, and I met Trevor Benjamin over at the Spiel Essen Fair, which was fantastic. I've known Brett J. Gilbert for 8 odd years now, and I saw him with someone, and I could tell it was with someone. And he said it was Trevor. I went, Trevor Benjamin? The Trevor Benjamin? Which is exactly what happened when I first met Brett. When I said Brett Gilbert, the Brett J. Gilbert. And I went, well, yes. Also Lords of Waterdeep, After Us, which again, I haven't enjoyed that much online. Ark Nova. Now, After Us, now is a game which was my game of the fair. And that is by a company called Catch Up Games. I keep want to say cheap side games, but it's Catch Up Games, a French publisher who've made Paper Tales and some other really cool games, Sobek 2-player. But the game I'm mentioning in a bit is the game I played 7 times in a row. I'll come back to that. Findorf, More of the Number, Time Storage Revolution, Midsummer Murder, which is Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a cooperative game. I love the Time Story series. This one was a bit funny. They're trying to be humorous and it's just a bit annoying, a bit too meta. A few games of Animals Gathering, which is really good. I gave that higher than other people did, 8 out of 10. Wonderful game by Wonderbow Games. Wonderful World Games. I got confused before about that, and Wonderbow Games had a right go at me for that. But you can check out my video from Wonderbow as mentioning them for Hunters of the Lost Creatures, which is a humorous game similar to Exploding Kittens. Also, Crack the Code, finally. 1 more mission to go. That was mission 4.4 we've just done. More games of Volcanic Island. Ocean Pods, very good. That is out in a couple of days as a video for the unboxing, and then a full review and explanations out in a few days. I've just had Lee Miller from there, who's the designer, talk about it. Message me about it on Instagram too, so check out my pictures there. AOC, Age of Campaign. Didn't really get on with this one. I'd rather play it in person, as well as Wingspan, which Wingspan I kind of maybe would prefer online actually. So I have played that there too. On the ferry, we played Cluster, which is a lovely game, especially on a ferry, which is a dexterity game via magnets and things moving all over the place, by Borderline Productions, something like Borderline, which makes a huge amount of sense because it's like a sumo thing where these magnets trying to touch. Are You a Robot by Looney Labs, which grew on me. A very simple premise whereby robots can't shoot at you, so you've got to look out for that. Snapshot Wildlife Photographer. I met the photographer at the UK Games Expo, so check out my videos which will go live for that. First Lucky Incense by TBD, that's Taiwan Board Design, I believe they're called, or Taiwan Board Game Design, who are going to give me 26 of their games at Spiel Essen, and I said, whoa, I just can't do that, I don't have space. But I really wanted Vegetable Stock, which is by the same designer as Taiwan Night Market, which sold out for €52, as well as another game called Christmas Tree, which, when it's not Christmas, is themed as fish. So check out my walkthrough videos for that too. Also played Discordia. Now this is by the 8 out of 10, in my opinion, great game, Peloponnese designer by Bernd Eisenstein, I think it's pronounced, but I think it's Iron Gate Games, which is really cool. Played with Candice Harris from the Board Game Geek podcast. Of course, I appeared on her podcast, or technically the Board Game Geek podcast. Many games of glue-ons because I was demonstrating full game length games of glue-ons. I've got a copy now, so I'll give you a video for that too, as well as Coral, also by them. On to the Friday, I got in for an early session of Apiary, which is a bee game whereby you're placing down bees, you're upgrading them from a 1s to 2s to 3s to 4s, and when you get a higher grade one, improves your movement, improves your power to do various parts of the game, and it's similar to a game of Gin, which I'll come back onto. But Apiary is very good, it's higher than average for me. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's enjoyable. Lots of different kind of fun mechanisms chucked in with it, and yeah, I think this is a solid game. €89 there, very expensive, I would have thought, for what it is, but people are getting it. But having played all the Stonemaier games apart from Red Rising by Alex, someone or other, who I have met a few times now, I've yet to still play it. Also played Scram, that's Scram with exclamation mark, which is a team game, 2 versus 2 game by Bezier Games, and it's a quick game you can play standing up, whereby you're basically trying to communicate with teammates. You're out in the woods and you're too far away to talk, and saying, look, we're trying to pair up animals, is one way of looking at numbers. Perspectives by Dave Neal and Matthew Dunstan. You can check my playlist for those on the YouTube channel. This is a cooperative game whereby one person sees a crime scene, one person sees the scene before the crime, but in a different room. So maybe it's a workshop, and then there's, I don't know, a jewellery window. So obviously you have the workshop where you're making jewellery, and then you've got the smashed window. How do you figure out what's gone missing? So as for Gin, I played that with Z Garcia from the Dice Tower and a few other people, taught by the Hall Games developer, Ralph, who did not design it. It was designed by Benjamin Schwer, who is a fantastic designer. I very much like Crown of Amara. Z prefers Hadara. I've only played Hadara online, but Crown of Amara I think is great. 8 out of 10. One of my favourite games, especially Euro games. Lovely mechanisms in there too. On to the Saturday, I queued for 45 minutes for a game of Expeditions, so we managed to get a slot in for that, playing that as a 4. Of the Scythe trilogy, starting off with Scythe, then My Little Scythe, and then Expeditions, this one has the least interaction, and I do understand that you're fighting against the board, but I'm not necessarily against interfighting, but it did feel a bit flat for what it is, and it is what I'm finding other influencers and other people are saying too. Now, let's come back to catch-up games. So I was at the Dice Mystics Fair again. I spent the evening with the founders, even getting a lift with the guy who even suggested the idea, to Alexander, who runs it, about just talking about the event and stuff like this, over at a pit stop American-style restaurant in Germany, near the outskirts of Essen, where AmassGames are also on the table next to us. And it was... very much all processed food, unfortunately, including a milkshake which had egg in it. Anyway, when I was at the Spiel Essen My Dice Mystics event in Bochum, half an hour drive, left by Frank, I saw others playing Evenfall on the table, or the larger part of the other side of the table, and I said to the chap who I had a lift with, called Andy Couch, who designed Seize the Bean, which did very well, and looks like a great game I want to try out, had a game called Faraway. Never heard of it. Didn't like the look of the box art, but we gave it a game, and I ended up playing it 7 times in a row because I extremely enjoyed it. And both Rudy and Tiago and Paul were all after a copy, as was myself. Unfortunately, it was completely sold out. Luckily, I managed to get a demo copy the next day. I also played Emerge with Christian, which was great. It is a great table presence. I say great, it's a very good game, but I do worry about the dice because you can't really mitigate them. You've got to do some other things which might not really benefit you at all. And it is much more of a family weight game, but it's still fine. 75 minutes is what it is. It's something to play in the evening when you've got kids around, and that's fine. On the Sunday, I played a game called Islet, which is the most gorgeous looking of that, and Coral in particular. But Islet is very deceptive. Coral might look more complicated than it is, but it's around 10 minutes to play. Islet, though, is literally an hour of you making tertiary decisions about keeping cards back, hand management, thinking ahead, knowing what cards you need to hold back, and sort of engine building too. Huge amount going on there. On the ferry back, played Similio, Tussie Mussy, and Wizards of the Grimoire. And then today I played The Number and a few more games of Faraway. Now, there were 17 games I played when I was away. I only played 10 games last Spiel Essen, so definitely an improvement. And I was there a bit longer, and I'm including stuff on the ferry, which I didn't play on the ferry last time. So these are the games I've played recently. So that's something of interest, I hope, for people listening. I guess I could talk about, which I haven't done before, about games that are popular on the channel right now. So Kavango, Ratchet the Star, Perudo, Court of Horror, and Doppel, a double playthrough. They are all the 5 most popular videos of the last 28 days. In terms of games that have come out on the channel recently, we've got Faraway, which went out today, a new dice tower with my logo embossed on it, with a lavender, so name being lavender, felt inlay for the dice tower in particular. It's a wooden one by In My Box, a Croatian company who gave me a lot of brandy and Reiki and stuff like that, which was very strong. You can also see videos of me walking to the fair with Sebastian from, this is Sebastian, not Bastian, so this is Basti from, I forgot the name, Shadowspire, who did Oathsworn. So I've done an 18-minute video, including Stephen Bonacore, the podfather of gaming, doing a 360. I've got him to do a 360. You can see Candice Harris in a video outside of the Horrible Guild stand with Lord of the Rings Familiar, which I've got now as well, and Sunrise Lane, which I think is coming next year. Well, it's out now, but I'm getting a copy soon, hopefully. Then we've also got another walkthrough layout through the Galleria and other areas, more of the other halls too. More videos as well. So I mentioned Are You a Robot? That's coming soon. Animals Gathering, so the unboxing video's out, and that full video is out this weekend. Got daily videos lined up until January, mid-January now, so that's cool. We've also got the top 50 most played board games come out. My best of the month is going live soon. We've got Fort video out, Lekata Tycoon. We have Canopy coming out very soon. We mentioned Festival and War of Civilizations, which has got about 200 views already, which is not too bad. The Spiel, Top 10 Hotness, and now seeing some Peppermint Tea. The Honor Rim game as well. Micro Macro 3 and Karak 2 Dice Distancing, as well as Karak Dice Distancing. That's lined up in for January, as well as Karak 2. We've also got more Kavango stuff, more stuff by Adventure Games, as well as Monopoly Voice Banking. We have the World Series of Yahtzee, the Labyrinth proper video. That is the Ravensburger game, Don't Panic. And we've obviously got Hallertau and Time Stories Damien coming up soon, which is, so Time Stories Damien is the rare one. This is the one that's sold for hundreds of dollars because it's a demo game and you can't buy it, although I know someone who has bought a copy. So that covers off quite a lot of stuff there. What we haven't talked about, I guess, is some of the stuff on Instagram. So that's been really popular. And Lee has just messaged me on Instagram now, full enough, talking about Ocean Pods. What else do we have though? So other games that are coming, they include games that I've had Roger asked to bring over, which is great. I've got Link, so I was really keen to try out Link. We've got Hike from Snowboard Games, so all these pictures are on Instagram if you want to save me just going through it. We've also got the new game from Tim Fowers. I say new, it's now boarding. I was very keen to play one by him specifically, so I had a chance to meet Tim Fowers for the first time, which was great, to give him some tea. Of course, met Shady Tobey from Impatience Again. I met Eric from Japan Anime Games, where I was really keen to get Heart of Crown, and I managed to get the more recent edition, which also works the standalone game and 2 expansions, because when I asked people at the Games Expo, what should I play, they said Heart of Crown, so I was very keen to see Japan Anime Games, see if they had any. I met Shem Phillips and Sam, that's SJ McDonald, of the Garfield Games duo, let's say, where I was holding Scholars of the South Tigris. So I've got that. I've got Legacy of You, which is designed as a solo game just by Shem. So that was really cool. Obviously pictures of Trevor Benjamin and Brett J. Gilbert. Bez, so Bez was demoing Last Bug Standing in the Circle of Doom, which looks really cool. Very keen to try that out. Also, we managed to get hold of, I say we because, well, I'll be playing with other people because these aren't solo games, and that is the Lumiere game. I think that's 1902. I'm a big fan of cinema, having reviewed 6,600 films, and a game which is not in their small range, which is Herbify. So I'm very keen to try that out. What else do we have over here? Well, more pictures and beautiful pictures at the Dice Tower. And I'm actually on some of the Instagram shots and some of their also pictures to do with videos of their fantastic travel vlogs, which are amazing. Pictures of Apiary, pictures of Scram. We've also got a few other games. Let's see what we've got going on here. Oh yes, a wonderful picture Bezier Game showed off, which is some wonderful looking tasty treat, some snack thing, but they have a printed fly in their picture. Expeditions, which looks quite cool, the picture I've got for that. Blueprints by Bezier Games, Perspectives. Richard Breeze, so this is the founder, the godfather, the origin and the creator of Worker Placement from 1998 with Keydom, I believe. He's now brought out the Glade, and of course, where do you find the Everglades? In the Florida Keys. Well, that's how I put it. Technically, they're above the Florida Keys. But I met him, really cool, very tall man, stands very straight, puts me to shame, and walks fast, like me, as we're lost trying to find the preview show. So that was really cool, and really got to meet him, and that's coming to the channel next month. Undergrove coming soon to AEG, so that's Eldrek entertainment group. I also met Min and Elwin, or technically, if I zoom in, I think Elwin and Min from the Lost Ruins of Arnak, because I picked up the Missing Expedition, which is the newest one from CGE. They did not have the first expansion, which I did order from them last year, but someone else ended up getting it. So I got it from Happy Games, which is a US distributor. Well, they are based in the US, even though I think they might be Croatian or Hungarian or something like that, Eastern-ish European. Wonderful people. I can see why they're called Happy Games. I also met Nethrendia, who is from Game in a Nutshell. So we spent a good time chatting about Arnak and just in general, and doing a podcast together as well. And then Draken Hunter, by one of my favourite illustrators and the designer of the Lost Ruins, of the Legends of Andor, and apologies for a noise that's about to kick in a second, and telling them how much I love the Legends of Andor, showing him my 48 plays of the Legends of Andor base game alone, whereby I've played all 10 fates, as well as all the missions, all the characters, and he was just lost for words. He was just so flattered and happy to hear how just touched he was, to hear how much I was a fan of his work. Also photos of that micro-macro grouping. So speaking of which, I'm actually going to just tag it now to say how cool it looks with all those maps combined, which is really cool. And yeah, that was just a really fun thing to see, the latest one. The downside is, yes, it's only out in German once again, so you have to wait until probably the spring for when that's going to come available. Roll camera, so I met the owner of that again, and I also had a chance to pick up the Christmas mini expansion, which I'm very keen to try out. And I know I haven't got a video, I have made one video, but it's not anything specifically focusing on them, that I will be bringing to the channel soon. So that's going to be appearing relatively soon. And then a photo with Samuel Luciani, which is really cool. I have no idea if he is on Instagram. And we've also got obviously my photos of Chady, the team at AmassGames, which looks really cool. We've also got photos with Ralph from Jin, and who else? There's two more things. Let's see if we can mention. We've got myself with Candice, which is really good. Oh, and of course, Stefan from Stefan Spieler. So that's really cool to catch up with him. Photos of Tim Fowers, guys from In My Box as well. And that's it. Other photos there are from Books of Time, Antilitum, and Lacrimosa, which have done bananas-ly well on here in terms of the amount of just people liking it, like 750 likes, which, considering it's a massively just fairly bland-looking white board, that did surprise me. Also photos of Wormholes, which looks really cool too, and I know that those guys really like my video for that too. 21X as well, but we're going back quite some time now, so that's it for now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention. Yeah, great fair. Very much enjoyed the leather seats over at the Spiel Essen fair. And yeah, any other questions, do let me know. Of course, you can check out the discussion over on Facebook. Hexacon is 10 odd days away. Over 30 different Discord groups by one person alone said Hexacon's being mentioned. I met Tom from Shadow Sit Down, who may well join as well, or the crew might, who knows. And yeah, any other questions, you can also let me know in the podcast. You'll find us on Spotify, Apple, Android, Google, and Overcast, amongst other ones. And if there's any ones I'm missing off, let me know on the guild as well via Board Game Geek. There's also TikTok and X and various other places. So yeah, speak to you soon. But for now, back to the table.